Brown bears, some of nature's heavyweights. Wild, powerful, and enigmatic. They enchant and surprise. Their reputation is fierce and deadly. But scratch away the myths, and you discover they can be gentle giants with a complex social life. And each bear is different from the next. I'm Chris Morgan, and as a bear biologist, I want to find out what bears are really like and separate bear fact from bear fiction.
It's still slow going in the world of Casanova here.
It takes skill and experience to thrive in bear society.
She's really checking us out. She knows exactly what we ate for breakfast.
And there's no place like Alaska's Katmai coast to really understand the private life of bears. Alaska's endless coastline, rough and inhospitable for humans, but a last retreat for brown bears. The abundant food sources along the Katmai coast draw the bears out of the mountains and force them to tolerate close encounters of the grizzly kind. Bears are loners by nature, but down here they have to learn to get along. That's why this remote wilderness is the perfect place for me to explore the private life of bears.
I spend a lot of time asking myself, what is it like to be a bear? Because their life is far more complicated than meets the eye. And it turns out it's a bit of a soap opera.
Spring is the toughest time of the year. After 6 months of hibernation, the bears have lost 1/3 of their body weight, and food is still scarce. So now coastal sedge meadows become an unlikely bear-sustaining resource. They attract a complete cross-section of bear society. There are young families, tender lovers, fearsome bruisers, bold posers, lonely youth. All in one place. Against their instincts to stay clear of each other, they come here and socialize.
Now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bears, all within about 100 square meters here. 7 bears, wow. So we've got 2 big males come in, there's at least 2 females in there. Now look at that, they're all moving towards each other.
As unusual as this bear gathering is, there are real benefits. It's not just food that's on the bears' minds. Spring is also mating time. Although not everyone appreciates the attention. Making your first move can be tricky, even for a male in his prime.
So you can see him following her right now. He's going to follow her to make sure that other males don't get access to her. He could be one of the more dominant males in this meadow, and he looks like he's been around for a while. He's got some battle scars from fighting males in the past. And every so often he'll walk up to a spot where the female was sitting, and he'll bury his nose in the sedges, and he can smell her scent and tell whether she is receptive. And she looks like a pretty mature, wise female. She's been around and knows what she's doing. This guy's got quite a nice approach. Seems to be working for him as well.
But an affair with the biggest tough guy around is not for the faint-hearted. Brown bears mate extensively and repeatedly. It's what triggers ovulation.
It looks like he's got a scar this long across his back on the left side, an old one, but that was a serious injury. Oh, and there's a female just about 100 meters behind them, just watching. She's taking it all in.
Usually males compete for the attention of females, but here the meadow is so crowded it can be tough for a girl to hold on to her man. Today, he's spoilt for choice.
I was just beginning to think this was real love. And then a new female walked by, and the male got a wandering eye and suddenly started to follow her. So he's off into the forest with the new lady now.
But not before he's left his mark. Scent is like a secret bear language. He's leaving his very own, unmistakable calling card.
This is a mating trail. This is where the males get to really strut their stuff. They'll urinate all over their paws and do the cowboy walk through a trail like this, and you can see these giant footprints. It almost looks like the trail of a Sasquatch coming through the forest here. And there's usually a nice rub tree like this one right here. They'll back up to this and rub their scent all over it so that every male and every female coming along this trail knows exactly who was here before them. And this is one of my favorites. They'll get down, pee all over these spruce saplings and leave their scent in as many places as possible to be as irresistible as they can be for every female coming by.
It may look like fun, but scratch trees are not just for pleasure. Big males leave their scented messages frequently to stake their claim to being boss around here. Advertising your position could reduce the need for serious face-offs with rivals. If the message boards don't work, showing what you're made of is the next step. Cowboy walking and urinating on your back legs are all part of an elaborate display of dominance and intimidation. The air is thick with bear perfume. If this isn't enough to reach an agreement, the contest can quickly escalate. Fights like these are often short, but can be bloody. There's no mistaking the winner of this battle. He's leaving his smelly sign of victory. These two have settled their relationship for now. Losers are well advised to concede defeat and leave with their pride dented, but their body intact. Winners may impress ladies watching from the sideline enough for a short-lived romance. This bear's efforts certainly seem to have done the trick. Perhaps he's secured the chance to pass on his genes to the next generation. But there are no guarantees. The female will also mate with other males. In spring, Katmai's sedge meadows are bursting with all kinds of life. And in these courting grounds, tension laces the air.
Oh yeah, it's like Game of Thrones suddenly, look. Here's the chess match unfolding right now. Got two bears coming in from the right, two bears coming in from the left. I can hear the movie soundtrack already. And they're all trying to figure out now who is here.
Bears are not territorial. For them, it's all about dominance and establishing their place in the pecking order.
The big dark guy there, he looks like he's going to come in and stir things up. He's making his appearance well known to everybody. See, there he is. He's chasing that female now. But they don't want to know any of it. There is a huge bear coming in here. This is the biggest one we've seen. And this may shake everything up. This is a game changer bear. He's already cowboy walking and he's only on the edge of the meadow. He's already lost all of his winter fur and he's still built like an outhouse. This is him at his smallest, believe it or not. He's an absolute giant. Now look at this. So our main male in the middle here, suddenly he's putting on a show, but he's retreating. Interesting, the big male that's just coming in isn't even approaching the females. He's trying to push that original male off now. So the guy that's retreating, he's kind of trying to save his pride by cowboy walking out of there. Kind of like, yeah, I was just hanging out. Didn't mean any trouble here. And he's retreating kind of with his tail between his legs. And the big fella is making his intentions very clearly known. Wow, look at the size of that new guy. That's not going to come to blows. You can tell immediately those guys aren't going to have a physical confrontation. The dark male is still kind of wandering off. It's like, okay, today's not my day.
The sedge meadows don't just attract courting couples and jealous lovers. Nervous mothers and their cubs come to claim their share of the much-needed food supply after their long winter hibernation. The mothers are alone in raising the kids, finding enough for them to eat and keeping them safe. The benefits of the sedges outweigh the risks that come with being so close to other bears, but mothers must be extra vigilant. So after this round-the-clock protection service, it must be a huge shock for young bears when, aged 2 or 3 years, they're booted out by their mothers. Virtually overnight, the youngsters find themselves left to fend for themselves. It leaves them insecure, vulnerable, and lonely.
It's hard to imagine sometimes, isn't it? You know, wondering about spending all that time with your mother. It's like being a teenager or in your early 20s. Suddenly you're out on your own in the world and mum and dad don't want to have anything to do with you anymore.
So siblings out on their own for the first time have it easier.
There's two young females here, and they're grazing away, very close to each other. They look connected, almost physically connected. They could be 3 or 4 years old, so they're out there on their own for the first time, finding their way through life. And it's got to be a bewildering prospect. And these guys at least have each other for now. But they're solitary animals, and so sooner or later they'll be living their own separate lives. But for now, there's something comforting about being with your sister. The other advantage to these young females hanging out, they've got 4 eyes instead of 2. So, and around here that's important. There's a lot to be thinking about, you know, in terms of the other bears that are around, or potentially even other threats like wolves. And so the 2 of them have got this whole sedge meadow covered. 2 noses, 2 pairs of eyes. There's something down the valley that's got her concerned. Wolf, wolf. Wolf just came in there. It stopped those bears in its tracks. Look at the bear running. It's chasing the bear. Wow. This is not a wolf that is taking down a bear. This is a wolf that's almost in just playful chase mode, seeing who he can push around. And that young female is bolting as fast as she can right off the meadow. The wolves and bears around here seem to have an interesting relationship. It's not threatening. It often seems just playful. It's a really bizarre thing. You'll see these guys dancing around a meadow together sometimes and playing chase. And sometimes it's the wolf chasing the bear, and sometimes it's the bear chasing the wolf.
But the commotion has intimidated the 2 young sisters.
This is really cool. So the young females are coming closer and closer to us. They're using us as shelter. Look at these beautiful animals. Wow, they're right here. And then as soon as she got downwind from us, look, see her opening her mouth, so she's inhaling, exhaling. See, we're right upwind of her now, so she's really checking us out. She knows exactly what we ate for breakfast.
In many places along the Katmai coast, bears aren't really bothered by people being near them. Grizzlies are strictly protected here. But for young, inexperienced bears, the sedge meadows are definitely a scary place. Their only defense? Their mother's childhood lessons. Coming to terms with their solitary existence is tough. This lonely youngster is looking for reassurance and company. A large mum and her 2 cubs are ideal. But there's no guarantee they'll tolerate a stranger. He's not much bigger than her own cubs. The experienced mum doesn't see him as a threat. And the cubs are always happy to play. A little well-earned peace and quiet for the mum. For the kids, playfully testing their strength is valuable training for their later lives. The lonely youngster has found playmates, but will he be allowed to stay? It's dinner time for her cubs, and the female calls them over. The little stranger has to stay away. Her absolute priority is her own offspring. She carefully picks a quiet spot with a good view to feed her cubs. With her back to the wind, she can pick up any scent behind her, while keeping watch on the meadow in front. She can smell other bears miles downwind and know who spells trouble. Vigilance is everything. Her milk gives the cubs a valuable boost. They feed on anything from sedges to berries, fish or meat. But taking time to nurse them is still important. When she senses a suspicious scent, feeding time is over. But mothers are always extra cautious. Our lonely young bear has stayed nearby, and he picks up on her unease. She's right to be worried. A large male is approaching. Even though her cubs are already quite big, she's a devoted mum and taking no chances. Popping her jaws, the female signals her young to pay attention and stay close. If at all possible, bears prefer to stay well clear of each other to avoid conflict. It's especially important for mothers. As she leaves in search of less troublesome spots, the little stranger also heads off, alone. There's less bear traffic on the nearby mudflats. They promise new opportunities to make friends. But not every mother tolerates visitors. For some, even a galloping youngster is enough to do a runner. Maybe her kids are still too young to play with strangers. The waterfront is a calm oasis compared to the busy sedge meadows. There might be other friends to be found. But the otter isn't keen on a bear playmate. This young bear still has a lot to learn. For me, the mudflats are always a highlight. There's always something new to explore. Some nice tracks here. Looks like some young wolf tracks moving that way, and the bear moving this way. This is a young bear. It's a good spot for them to explore. Just along the water's edge here, you know. Plenty of food and things for them to discover. At low tide, some bears like to come out here. There are fewer irritating insects, and it's cooler. The lonely youngster learned from his mother that the mud hides precious clams. Now he has to put his lessons to practice. Not all spots are equally productive. So he decides to dig where others are already hard at work. These spring cubs are just a few months old. It's their first summer, and everything is still new to them. They feel safest close to their mother's considerable bulk. Who wouldn't? The young intruder is no threat to them, but they remain very wary of him. And since he's not having much success digging for clams, he soon moves on. He still has a lot to learn to cope with life as a solitary adult bear, including how to deal with other Katmai residents. Is a wolf friend or foe out here? A single wolf would struggle to take down an adolescent bear, but the pack may well be nearby. But this is no hunt. It's a game. Wolves and bears. You'd think they'd be sworn enemies, but instead, they've become playmates. Eventually, the returning tide puts an end to the mudflat activities. The beachgoers all retreat to solid ground until the next time the tide is out. Young bears only just embarking on their adult life are still kids at heart, always looking for a little action, even at the end of an eventful day. Chasing ducks won't fill his tummy, but it's all good practice. As evening falls, a sense of calm returns to the coast. Time for the young bear to retreat and gather strength for a new adventure-filled day. Daybreak finds bear society already in full swing. Center stage on the meadows, a test of strength and agility. This pair of adolescent males is not yet mature enough to take part in the mating game, but they are intent on practicing their moves for the real fights they will face in the future. For now, they're careful not to injure each other. Of course, when you're equipped with weapons like these, accidents do happen. But the intention is always a playful sparring match to measure your strength, not a serious contest. Being able to demonstrate your potency and fighting skills is essential for any adult male. So this playful exercise is important training for adolescents. They're mimicking the adults' power games. So even in play fights, there are winners and losers. Sparring for positions of dominance is mostly a male pastime. But that doesn't mean girl fights don't happen. They're just different.
This is really sweet. These two females that at first looked like they were being a little bit aggressive towards each other, pushing each other around the meadow. And now they're rolling around like old playmates. You know, sometimes when you see young males playing, you always think there's a reason for it, and they're testing each other for later in life when they get to mate. But this is two young females, and there's really no reason for them to be play fighting here. They're just having a good time, and sometimes that's enough.
The difference between male and female bears, even at this tender age, is really striking. But even for the females, it's useful to practice how to stand your ground as adult bears. There are always times when you have to be ready to defend your own interests. The males' power struggles are not for them. Instead, it's down to them alone to safely shepherd the next generation to adulthood. And that means being able to stand your ground to defend your cubs, come what may, be it hunger and thirst or wolves and other bears. The weather along the Katmai coast is notoriously harsh, changeable and unpredictable. For the most part, it's cool and rainy. High levels of humidity make this a perfect place for sedge-grass meadows to thrive. There's plenty here to feed everyone, and really there's enough space to give each other a wide berth. Despite this, squabbles with the neighbors are on the agenda. The dark-faced cubs seem to be hassling the fluffy ones. Disagreements can quickly escalate. This mom is certainly not going to watch her precious cub be insulted. But putting the neighbor's kid in its place promptly provokes his mom. Bear mothers are fiercely protective. The fluffy family's withdrawal is under protest. The mother angrily pops her jaws. Staying at arm's length also helps to avoid disputes over food. Even though bears aren't territorial, they sometimes defend good food sources from intruders. But still, some cubs just don't know when to call it quits. These kids are in their second summer on the meadows. They're still inexperienced in dealing with strangers. But along the rich coastline, encounters are unavoidable. I wonder if this makes the bears more or less tolerant of company. This is purely posturing and intimidation. The two mothers won't have a real fight. They're both in the same boat. An awkward situation. The agitated jaw popping calls their cubs to order. Here, the fluffy mother seems to have the advantage. As soon as the dispute is settled, the families get back to their most important task, grazing. Each in their own corner, of course. All along the Katmai coast, mini bear dramas play out continually. It really does feel like the script to a soap opera. In a remote corner, I've tracked down a big male and a beautiful female, getting to know each other.
She's coming this way. And look how she looks at him. She's trying to guide him over. She's coaxing him over. She's looking coyly over her shoulder right now. See? She's just planted herself back in the grass. She walked maybe 10 or 15 meters away from him, and that was it. She keeps on looking back, hoping that he's following, and he's not. But he's okay. He's kind of just playing it cool for now. There are no other big males around. There's nothing to threaten this courtship for him. Here she comes. Watch how often she glances over her shoulder. Now, there is a chance that she'll come behind us and he might get testy about it, okay? So just be ready for that if it does happen. He's jaw popping, this guy. It's okay. It's all right, buddy. It's okay, buddy. We're all good. It's all good, buddy. It's all good. I think she's testing him out. She's wondering if he can get close, if he's willing to get close to her even though we're here. She's far less concerned about us than he is. Sometimes females will actually run behind us to take cover from an approaching male like this, and that's when it can get a little bit anxious, because then you're between a male and his girlfriend, and it's not a good spot to be in. And I hate to say it, but I think at this point she's playing hard to get. Oh, rolls over onto her back. Oh my goodness, that has got to be torturous for this guy. I'm sorry to put words in their mouth, but you can't help it. I mean, she is rolling around, her leg is in the air, just in the most tantalizing position, just tempting him over. And he knows that he can't push it yet, but he knows that she's really interested in him, so he must be a very confused male. I kind of sympathize with the guy. Oh, he's up. He's following. First thing he does is look left and right and see if there's any other males around. He's actually herding her, look at that. He's trying to prevent her from going back to the sedge meadows, because that's where more males would be. Oh, she wants to get back to the sedges. She's made a break for it. She's gone, and he can't round her up. Ah. He did cut her off. He made it over there before she could get across. So she's still here, and he's down below her. He's actually herding her like a sheepdog, you know. He's trying to make sure that she stays on this section, this raised section right here. And she really wants to go over there, but he's moving this way and that to make sure that she doesn't. He's got her exactly where he wants her. It must be exhausting, actually, this constant maneuvering around each other. It looks like it might be bedtime. I don't know how this is going to unfold, but it wouldn't surprise me if they were still in this corner of the meadow first thing in the morning.
I'm always impressed how every male seems to have his very own courtship strategy, and each female responds individually. It all takes tremendous energy. It's been an eventful day on the Katmai coast, and as the wolves call their young close, I'll leave them be and return in the morning to check on our 2 courting bears. Before I do anything else this morning, I want to find our 2 lovers again. I can't wait to see how this romance unfolds.
It's still slow going in the world of Casanova here. But what I love is if we just sat down and found these guys, we would think it was just 2 bears grazing, but there's a lot more going on than that. Oh, he's approaching her now. Let's see what happens. Oh, she's not moving away. Oh, beautiful. Oh. Okay, she's sitting down. That's a little bit of a coy move because she's not quite ready for him to mount her. She just urinated in that spot and he has his nose buried in there to see how receptive she is. He wants to know if she's an estrus. And he's just loving it. That's stimulating everything right now. Oh. He just let out this deep breath. So he's... Whoops. He gave me an intense look then because I huffed. Now you can hear him jaw popping. Oh, this could be the finale of our story here. What a sweet scene. I think she's ready. Oh, it's just burying his nose in her fur, and you can see he's just really enthralled by her. Oh, they're biting at each other now. That's priceless. He sits down as if to say, what is a guy to do? I've tried everything. All my best moves. Oh, it's so unfair.
The blossoming romance is thrown off balance by this intruder. A beauty like this is always in high demand.
He looks much bigger and more dominant than the male that's been following our female. And these guys are starting to circle right now. He's jaw popping. Now he's going to come over and look, he can smell her. See, he's got his nose in the air. He smells her perfume wafting across this meadow. Now he's cowboy walking. Look at this guy. He's into full-on cowboy walk mode, trying to impress the female and try to intimidate the male that was here originally. Look at that cowboy walk. Perfect. Swaggering through the meadow, just showing everyone who's boss. Look at that. Oh, that's such a wonderful example of it. See him urinating there? All over his paws and digging his scent into the meadow now. This is my turf, and you're not welcome. And meanwhile, the guy in the background is looking really dejected now. Suddenly reality has kicked in.
The usurper simply oozes confidence. He knows he's won. He checks the female's scat and urine for signs that she's receptive. And the lady seems impressed with her new suitor. Perhaps she still wants to test his commitment first, as she lures him on. But there's nothing to fear from his rival. All he can do is watch as his hopes disappear across the river.
Some of these males will have different strategies. So you've got a big bruiser like this that's very confident, and he's one of the more dominant males in the area. You can just tell by the way he carries himself. But sometimes other males that are on the sidelines get an opportunity to mate as well, and they have a completely different strategy. And it's often called the sneaky male syndrome, and this is where a younger, less dominant male will come in and still get mating opportunities with the females, but not because he's the big bruiser, just because he's smarter strategically.
It seems not everything about being a bear is about brawn. With enough cunning, even a small male can get his chance, sneaking in while the coast is clear. This muscle man has also picked up the female's scent. The sneaky male has to keep his wits about him. He's no match for the muscle man. A strategic withdrawal is his only option. He's had his chance and surrenders to the stronger bear. But ultimately, it's Lady's choice. The young female wants to stick with someone her own size and follows the smaller male. Young females often seem intimidated by large, battle-marked bruisers. So sneaky males can also win the day. It just goes to show how different each bear is, and how they all develop their own coping mechanisms and strategies for any situation.
These guys are all individuals, as different as any people you might encounter. Some of them are humorous and light-hearted, and others more serious and focused, and others laid back, and others aggressive. And it's like reading a list of human attributes, but it's about bears. They're all such individuals, and you can really see it at a time like this.
The problems, successes, and disappointments of these bears always touch me. It's almost as if I'm among friends or neighbors. When they all come together in spring on Katmai's sedge meadows, you quickly realize one bear is not like the next. They even look completely different and distinctive. Each one has a personality that sets it apart from the others. And it's this diversity and individual behavior that keeps me fascinated. It seems to me that bears really are a lot like us. Each is one of a kind, unique and irreplaceable.